Kale lived alone in a small apartment on the outer edge of Halcyon Station, a human colony that floated like a quiet island in deep space. The station was old but reliable, built long before humans were respected in the wider galaxy. Most aliens saw Halcyon as a forgotten place, useful only for repairs and trade stops. Kale did not mind that. He liked quiet. He liked routine. Every morning he woke up to the low hum of the station's power core. He drank recycled water that tasted faintly of metal and checked his repair messages. Kale was an engineer, trained to fix communication arrays and navigation systems. His hands were always stained with grease, and his mind was always working. Humans, he believed, survived because they learned how to fix what others abandoned. That evening felt normal at first. Kale returned home after repairing a broken relay dish outside the station. His body ached, and his boots were still dusty from vacuum work. He sealed the door behind him and removed his jacket. The lights flickered softly, adjusting to his presence. Then there was a knock. Kale froze. No one knocked anymore. Most people used digital signals or station alerts. A physical knock meant either an emergency or something very unusual. He checked the wall display. No visitor request. No security warning. The knock came again. Calm, confident, as if the person on the other side knew exactly where they were. Kale hesitated, then moved toward the door. He placed his hand near the emergency lock just in case and opened it slowly. A woman stood there. At least she looked like a woman. Tall, graceful, with silver-blue skin that shimmered faintly under the hallway lights. Her eyes were large and dark, reflecting more light than seemed possible. She wore layered clothing made of thin, flowing material that shifted like liquid metal. She smiled. It was not a friendly smile. It was not cruel either. It was calm, certain, and strangely knowing. Without asking permission, she stepped past him and into the apartment. Kale turned quickly. "Wait, who are you?" She glanced around the room as if inspecting it. Then, with slow, deliberate movements, she touched her clothing. The outer layer dissolved into light, vanishing like mist. Then another layer faded, and another, until what remained was a simple, smooth suit that clung closely to her form. It was not revealing in a human way. It looked more like advanced armor, grown rather than worn. Kale's heart pounded, but not from desire, from confusion. "What are you doing?" he asked, his voice tight. She turned to face him fully. "Removing barriers," she said. Her voice was clear, musical, and accented in a way no translator could fully explain. "I prefer honesty." Kale swallowed. "You could have started with knocking and talking." "I did knock," she replied calmly. "You opened." She smiled again, just slightly wider. "You are Kale Riven, human, engineer, problem solver." Kale stiffened. "How do you know my name?" "I know many things," she said. "I am Lyra of the Viorlian Accord." Kale had heard that name before. The Viorlians were an advanced alien species, known for intelligence and strict hierarchy. Humans rarely interacted with them directly. When they did, it was usually through distant diplomats, not strangers at apartment doors. "You shouldn't be here," Kale said carefully. "This is a restricted human zone." Lyra tilted her head. "Restrictions are flexible, especially when the outcome matters." She reached out and placed a small object on Kale's table. It was a disc, dark and smooth, no markings visible. Kale stared at it. "What is that?" "A choice," Lyra said. Kale laughed nervously. "That's not an answer. For my people it is." She walked toward the window and looked out at the stars. "Your species is underestimated," she continued. "Ignored, watched from a distance, but patterns are changing." Kale crossed his arms. "If this is about recruitment or experiments, the answer is no." Lyra turned back to him, studying him closely. Her eyes seemed to see more than his face, more than his body. They seemed to look at how he thought. "You are not special because you are strong," she said. "You are special because you are adaptable." Kale frowned. "You broke into my home to tell me that." "No," she replied. "I came because soon this message will be deleted. This moment will not exist in any official record. She gestured to the disk. That device contains coordinates and data, knowledge forbidden to many species. My people believe humans are too fragile to handle it. And you disagree, Kale said. Yes. Kale picked up the disc carefully. It felt warm, almost alive. Why me? Lyra stepped closer. She was taller than him, but she did not loom. She simply existed, confident in her place. Because when your station lost power 3 cycles ago, she said, you rerouted systems manually without waiting for authorization. You saved lives by breaking rules. Kale remembered that night, the alarms, the darkness, the choice he made in seconds. I did what was necessary, he said. That, Lyra replied, is why I am here. The lights flickered again, slightly stronger this time. Somewhere deep in the station, machinery groaned. Kale exhaled slowly. If I accept this, what happens? Lyra smiled, that same calm, owning smile. Everything changes. And if I refuse, she paused, just for a moment, then I will leave, and humanity will remain exactly where the galaxy expects it to be. Kale looked at the disk. He looked at the stars outside. He thought of Halcyon Station, forgotten and quiet. He thought of humans always fixing, always adapting, always surviving. You really just walked into my life, he said, and expected me to follow, Lyra nodded. Yes. Kale shook his head, half amused, half terrified. You aliens have strange confidence. We have learned, she said softly, that confidence often belongs to those who see further ahead. She stepped back toward the door. You have one rotation to decide. After that, I will be gone. The door opened behind her automatically. Lyra paused at the threshold and looked back. Whatever you choose, Kale Riven, know this. You were never owned, you were noticed. Then she was gone, the door sealed shut. The apartment felt smaller, quieter. Kale stood alone, the disc still in his hand. Outside, the stars waited. Kale did not sleep that night. He sat on the edge of his bed, the small disc resting on the table beside him. The room felt different now, as if it remembered Lyra's presence. Every sound seemed louder. Every shadow felt meaningful. He kept replaying her words in his mind. You were noticed. Humans were rarely noticed by powerful alien groups. Usually they were ignored, tolerated, or quietly used. Kale had grown up knowing that. His parents had worked hard jobs on fringe stations just like Halcyon, fixing things others did not care about. Humans survived by being useful, not important. But Lyra had looked at him like he mattered. When the station lights dimmed for the night cycle, Kale finally stood up. He picked up the disc. The moment his fingers closed around it, the surface lit up. Soft lines of light spread across it, forming symbols that quickly translated into human text. Coordinates appeared. Star charts. Energy readings that made no sense with known human technology. His breath caught. This was real. Kale moved fast. He packed only what he needed: tools, a portable scanner, spare clothing, and a small emergency kit. He hesitated once, looking around his apartment. It had been his whole world for years. Then he turned away. The lower spaceport of Halcyon Station was quiet, almost abandoned at this hour. Most ships had long since departed, and only a few maintenance crews moved through the shadows. Kale kept his head down as he walked, the disc hidden inside his jacket. At the far end of the port, past inactive hangars, a ship waited. It did not look human. Its surface was smooth and dark, reflecting light like calm water. No sharp edges, no visible engines. It seemed grown rather than built. Lyra stood beside it. She looked exactly as she had in his apartment, calm and perfectly still, as if she had been waiting for hours and seconds meant nothing to her. You came, she said. Kale stopped a few steps away. You didn't really think I wouldn't. I calculated multiple outcomes, Lyra replied. This was the most favorable. Kale snorted quietly. You aliens and your calculations. She studied him. You are nervous. Of course I am, he said. I'm about to leave everything I know with someone I met yesterday who broke into my home. Yes, Lyra said, that is reasonable. The ship opened silently as they approached. Lights spilled out, soft and blue. Kale hesitated again. Once I step inside, there's no turning back, is there? Lyra met his eyes. There is always turning back, but the cost increases with knowledge. Kale nodded slowly and stepped onto the ship. Inside, the air felt warmer, cleaner. The walls glowed faintly, responding to movement. There were no obvious controls, no seats in the human sense. The ship seemed aware of them. As the hatch closed, Kale felt a deep vibration run through the floor. The stars outside shifted, stretched, and then vanished. They were moving. Kale gripped a nearby support. No countdown, Lyra tilted her head. Why would we wait? The ship traveled faster than anything Kale had ever experienced. There was no sense of speed, no crushing force, only the quiet hum of immense power. As they moved, Lyra began to speak. The coordinates you carry lead to a hidden structure, she said. Older than my people, older than many civilizations. Kale frowned. And you just want to study it? No, Lyra said. Others want to destroy it. She explained that a rival alien coalition believed the structure was dangerous. They feared it could change the balance of power. The Virelian Accord was divided. Some wanted control, some wanted secrecy. And you? Kale asked. I want understanding, she said. And allies who think differently, Kale laughed softly. So you brought a human? Yes. Hours passed, or maybe days. Time felt strange inside the ship. Kale explored cautiously, studying the walls, the systems. He noticed patterns, responses, small flaws. At one point, the ship's glow flickered. Lyra stiffened. That should not happen. Kale was already moving. Your energy modulation is too smooth, he said quickly. No room for error. Humans build systems expecting failure. Lyra watched as Kale adjusted a panel, rerouting energy in a rough but effective way. The flicker stopped. Lyra stared at him. You altered the ship without permission. Kale shrugged. It worked. Slowly, Lyra smiled. Not the confident smile from before. This one carried something new, respect. Not long after, alarms pulsed through the ship. The calm glow turned sharp and red. We have been followed, Lyra said. They should not have been able to track us. Kale checked the readings. They didn't track the ship, he said. They tracked the disk, it's broadcasting. Lyra's eyes widened slightly. Impossible, it was shielded. Not from human-style signal noise, Kale replied. We leak everywhere. Outside, shapes appeared. Sleek, aggressive ships, weapons already charging. They will fire, Lyra said calmly. We are outnumbered. Kale's mind raced. Can your ship fight? Yes, Lyra said, but not win. Kale grinned, sharp and sudden. Then let's not fight fair. He rerouted power again, pushing systems beyond their safe limits. The ship shuddered but responded. What are you doing? Lyra demanded, teaching them how unpredictable humans are. Kale triggered a burst of chaotic signals, human-style junk data flooding space. Sensors blinded, targeting confused. The ship slipped through the attackers like a shadow. A blast struck the hull. The ship groaned. Lyra stumbled for the first time since he had met her. Kale caught her arm. You okay? Yes, she said, but her voice was strained. The ship lurched again. Another hit. Lyra looked at him. If we continue, we may not survive. Kale met her gaze. If we turn back, they'll hunt us again. We finish this. For a long moment, she studied him. Then she nodded. The ship surged forward, diving toward the coordinates. Ahead, something massive emerged from the dark. An ancient structure, glowing faintly, surrounded by debris and silent defenses. But the attackers were still coming. As the ship crossed into the structure's shadow, weapons fire followed. A final blast struck hard. The lights went out. Silence filled the ship. Kale held his breath. Then emergency systems activated, dim and flickering. Lyra looked at him, her calm finally cracked by urgency. We are inside, she said, but the structure is waking up. Outside, ancient systems began to move. And the galaxy was about to notice humanity. The ship drifted in silence inside the massive structure. Dim lights flickered along the walls. casting long shadows that moved in slow, unnatural patterns. Kale could feel the ship trembling not from damage alone but from something else. It was as if the structure itself was breathing. Lyra stood still, her eyes focused on the faint symbols appearing on the inner walls. "This place is active," she said quietly. "It recognizes us." Kale wiped sweat from his brow and checked the emergency console. "Your systems are barely holding," he said. "If this place doesn't help us soon, we won't last." As if responding to his words, the structure pulsed. Light flowed through the corridors like liquid stars. The ship was gently pulled forward, guided deeper inside. Outside, the pursuing alien ships hesitated. Their weapons powered down as strange signals flooded their sensors. The ancient structure did not attack them. It simply ignored them as if they were unworthy of notice. Inside the structure, the ship finally settled onto a wide platform. The vibrations stopped. The silence felt heavy, full of expectation. The hatch opened on its own. Lyra took a cautious step forward, then paused. "This place predates all known languages," she said. "Yet it is attempting communication." Kale followed her out. The air felt warm and alive. The floor beneath his boots responded slightly, firm but not solid. Symbols floated in the air, shifting shapes and colors. Kale frowned. "It's like it's learning." "Yes," Lyra replied. "Or remembering." As they walked, images formed around them, stars being born, civilizations rising and falling, species that no longer existed. The structure was not a weapon, it was an archive, a witness. Kale stopped when a new image appeared: humans, early human explorers. Small ships, fragile designs, struggling, failing, repairing, trying again. Lyra watched silently. The structure pulsed brighter. A voice echoed through the space, not spoken but felt. It was calm, ancient, and vast. Adaptive minds detected. Kale's breath caught. "It's talking to us." Lyra bowed her head slightly. "It acknowledges intelligence." Rigid systems collapse. Adaptive systems endure. The images shifted. Advanced alien empires fell because they could not change. Perfect systems broke under unexpected pressure. Then humans appeared again, improvising, surviving disasters, rebuilding with limited tools. The structure glowed brighter around Kale. Lyra turned to him slowly. "It is focusing on you." Kale swallowed. "I didn't do anything." "You adapt," the voice replied. "You accept failure. You rebuild." Lyra stepped forward. "What do you want from us?" she asked. "Continuation," the structure answered. "Balance." Outside, the rival alien fleet regained movement. Fear spread through their ranks as their scans failed again and again. Inside, the structure opened a chamber ahead. At its center floated a core of pure light, stable and calm. Lyra stared in awe. This could change everything. Energy without collapse, knowledge without control. Kale looked at the core, then back at the images of fallen empires. "Only if people don't try to own it," he said. The structure pulsed, softer now. Human reasoning acknowledged. Lyra felt something shift inside her. For the first time, her people's logic felt incomplete. Suddenly, the ship alarm sounded again. "They are breaking through the outer field," Kale said. "They won't stop." Lyra's voice tightened. "If they enter, they will try to seize the core." Kale looked around quickly. "Can this place defend itself?" "Defense possible," the structure replied. "Guidance required." Kale understood instantly. "It doesn't want to choose," he said. "It wants us to." Lyra hesitated. Choosing meant responsibility, control, risk. Kale stepped forward. "Protect the structure," he said clearly. "Disable hostile ships. No destruction if possible." The core flared. Outside, invisible waves spread from the structure. The attacking ships froze mid-motion. Weapons shut down. Power drained, but hulls remained intact. Panic turned into silence. Inside, Lyra stared at Kale. "You just commanded an ancient force." He shrugged weakly. "I asked nicely." For the first time, Lyra laughed. A quiet, genuine sound. The structure's voice returned. "Human presence increases probability of galactic stability." Lyra straightened. "What does that mean?" humans will be noticed. Kale exhaled slowly. That's what I was afraid of. The structure began transferring data not into Lyra's systems but into a shared interface that Kale could understand. Simple, clear, flexible. Lyra watched in awe. It is choosing a bridge, she said. Between species. Kale nodded. We're good at that, we've always had to be. Outside, the hostile fleet retreated, powerless and shaken. When the transfer ended, the core dimmed slightly, stable once more. Return when needed, the structure said. Adapt. Survive. The ship system slowly came back online, stronger than before. As they prepared to leave, Lyra looked at Kale with a new expression. Not ownership, not control, partnership. You could have taken this power for yourself, she said. You didn't. Kale smiled tiredly. Power breaks when you squeeze it too hard. As the ship lifted off and slipped back into open space, the stars looked different, closer, more aware. Far across the galaxy, signals spread. Stories followed. Humans were no longer just repairers on forgotten stations. They were adaptive minds trusted by ancient forces, and the galaxy would never underestimate them again.